All right, we're talking Canes with Eric Marrero. Join him on Canes Insight for Miami football coverage. I see a lot of recruiting there, and obviously spring practice starting up this week. So a lot to get to there in setting up the Canes for 2018. You mentioned the recruiting, and you mentioned the secondary. So my thoughts are you had the two big corners in South Florida there with Surtain and Campbell. Not able to get either one of those in 2017. Of course, the recruiting class was arguably the best in the conference and one of the top 5 or 6 in the nation. Didn't necessarily close well, but you got to be happy across the board. We head into 2019. I see, looking at your website, that we've got a 4-star defensive back into Corey Couch, who's now named Miami along with Michigan as his top 2. Your thoughts about Mark Richt's ability in this area overall in recruiting, and then how 2019's shaping up at this point?
What's funny about the guy you just said, he's actually committed to Tennessee, and he has a top 2 with Tennessee not in it. So that's kind of funny. But just going to recruit,
it makes sense how the recruiting.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But just going into I think Mark Richt the last 2 years, because people didn't expect Miami. I expected it, in my opinion, but I don't think people expected how Miami has completely taken over the entire state of Florida in the recruiting battle. Like an area like, if you would have told me 2 years ago that Miami would completely dominate an area like Jacksonville, Florida, who's normally been a University of Florida territory, Miami's literally just dominating everybody in that area. They're taking a guy like Jeremiah Payton, who's a top player in the area in Duval County, 904. He's already rated. If the rankings ended today, he'd be a 5-star wide receiver prospect. Another guy that they're going after, a guy like Fred Davis in the 2020 class. He's another guy who's a top 50 prospect in that area who came from the same school as Kendrick Norton. He's another guy I think is going to go to Miami because Miami's just completely dominating that entire area. And then I think the way that this recruiting cycle is going to determine, it depends on how Dan Mullen and Willie Taggart do in their first year. If they have another year where they flop and they don't have a good season, I think it's going to be really bad trouble. Because I think this is their make or break a year for Florida and Florida State. Because if they don't have a good year, Miami's just going to continue to dominate them for a very long time until they beat Miami.
You know, I can't imagine that happening, though. I can't imagine FSU and Florida collapsing.
I can't see that happening. I can see maybe Florida because they until they solve that quarterback position.
Oh, I can see them collapsing on the field. I can see them collapsing and not playing well in Dan Mullen's first year, but he's too good of a coach. They're too big of a program with too many resources and too many recruits that want to go there. I just can't see them staying down. And now that they've got a guy in place who's proven that he can win at a Mississippi State with a lot less resources, I just don't see Florida being down for a long time. Florida State, and Willie Taggart's a proven coach there. So I think it's an interesting battle that's going to be waged. And as you well know, in South Florida, there's so many recruits of the 4- and 5-star level that Miami can take its share, and there's still plenty left over for everybody else.
Yeah, but like guys, the South Florida area is a key portion for Miami this season. Because if you look at there's probably about like 20 guys rated in the top 247 just alone in South Florida. And Miami can only probably take 10. So there's going to be another 10 that just leave the area. Guys like, I think Miami's top targets for this class are going to be the 2 kids out of South Dade. One's already a 5-star, Frank Ladson, who I've seen the last 2 years go from a guy that couldn't catch a ball to a guy who's the number 2 wide receiver in the nation now. And another kid like Tyreek Stevenson, his teammate, who I think is the best overall prospect in the nation coming up. It's going to be Florida. He was committed to Florida at one point, but it's going to be a Miami, Clemson, and Georgia battle throughout the way for him and guys like that. Another one, like a guy like Amon Richards' brother, a guy Miami's top wide receiver, his brother, one of the top running back prospects, Mark Anthony Richards. Miami wants him to play defense, but he wants to play offense. So that's a little tricky situation that Miami's going to figure out what's going to happen.
Okay, we've got Eric Marrero on the line from Canes Insight. Join him right there for Miami football coverage. Spring training getting kicked off, of course, this week. Eric, we appreciate you stopping by.
No problem. Thank you so much.